of myself, Jacqueline Nantier Hopewell, and I'm the I'm the treasurer, and I don't know what I am today. We're everything. This is President of We Are Women, Wendy Cartwright. This is the Vice President of We Are Women, Elena LaTourette. This is our social media person here, volunteer coordinator is Jen Rao. Awesome job. Kimberly Johnson, who is helped us with our press and lovely everything else. We thank you for all our volunteers and everybody and supporters and everybody throughout this year who have tweeted, Facebook shared, donated, which we're still working on, and everything else. Thank you so much. We have a long program today. We got to get to it. We're going to let them know up on the hill that we are women, hear us roar. You don't support our rights, you're out the door. Okay? So, we have some short announcements, housekeeping stuff. After that, we will have a military tribute, and we will go on from there. Thank you so much for coming. Love you all.
Hi, 2 quick announcements. First of all, the bathrooms will be open at 10 a.m. and they're over at the Botanical Gardens. And if you ordered food, there is, in the middle of the lawn, the pre-ordered food. You'll be able to pick that up. And if you did not order food and you want to get anything, the closest place to do that will be at the Indian Museum, which I'm told is that away. All right. And there's also bathrooms at the Indian Museum. So thank you. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Okay, so we're ready to go. First people I am very honored to introduce today is Women in Military Service to American Memorial Foundation, General Barbara Goodwin and Monisha Rios. Thank you.
Brave and honorable women have voluntarily served with and in the military of the United States in wars since the American Revolution. Before becoming official members in 1901 with the creation of the Army Nurse Corps, many women disguised themselves as men and fought alongside their brothers in arms. Hundreds of thousands of women have suffered lifelong injuries. Some have been captured and were held as prisoners of war, and others died in service to our country. More than 1,000 military and civilian women that we know of have made the ultimate sacrifice, and until 1920 did so without the right to vote. Today, women veterans read the names of those brave women who have died in the Vietnam War and through our current wars on terrorism. The list was compiled from the Department of Defense, the Women in Military Service for America Memorial Foundation resources, and the Records Project of Nooney Fortin. Mary Kelly Richard will read the first 23 names.
Vietnam. 8 servicewomen and 60 civilian women died while serving our country during the Vietnam War. Army Nurse Corps 2nd Lieutenant Carol Ann Drosba, 22 years old, of Dunmore, Pennsylvania, died February 18, 1966. Army Nurse Corps Second Lieutenant Elizabeth Ann Jones, 22 years old, of Allendale, South Carolina, died February 18, 1966. Army Nurse Corps Captain Eleanor Grace Alexander, 27 years old, of Westward, New Jersey, died November 30th, 1967. Army Nurse Corps First Lieutenant Hedwig Diane Orlowski, 23 years old, of Detroit, Michigan, died November 30th, 1967. Army Nurse Corps Second Lieutenant Pamela Dorothy Donovan, 26 years old, of Alston, Massachusetts, died July 8, 1968. Army Nurse Corps Lieutenant Colonel Annie Ruth Graham, 52 years old, of Eflin, North Carolina, died August 14, 1968. Army Nurse Corps First Lieutenant Sharon Ann Lane, 25 years old, of Canton, Ohio, died June 8, 1969. Air Force Captain Mary Therese Klinker, 27 years old, of Lafayette, Indiana, died April 4, 1975. Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. 15 servicewomen were killed during Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Army Staff Sergeant Tatiana Kagani Deese of Congress, New York, died January 7, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Reserve Specialist Christine Lynn Mays, 22 years old, of Rochester Mills, Pennsylvania, died February 25, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Reserve Specialist Beverly Sue Clark, 23 years old, of Armagh, Pennsylvania, died February 25, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Reserve Specialist Adrian Lynette Mitchell, 20 years old, of Moreno Valley, California, died February 25, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Sergeant Cheryl Lorraine LeBeau O'Brien, 24 years old, of Racine, Wisconsin, died February 27, 1991, in Kuwait. Specialist Cindy Marie Baudouin, 19 years old, of Plainfield, Connecticut, died February 28, 1991, in Kuwait. Army Major Marie Therese Rossi Caton, 32 years old, of Oradell, New Jersey, died March 1, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army National Guard Private First Class Pamela Yvette Gay, 19 years old, of Surrey, Virginia, died March 10, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Second Lieutenant Kathleen Marie Sherry, 23 years old, of Towanda, New York, died March 12, 1991, in Kuwait. Army National Guard Private Dorothy Lee Fales, 25 years old, of Taylor, Arizona, died March 19, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Private First Class Cindy Deanna Jane Bridges, 20 years old, of Trinity, Alabama, died March 19, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Navy Petty Officer First Class Shirley Marie Mallon Cross, 36 years old, of Fountain, Florida, died April 5, 1991, in Oman. Army Private Candace Mariah Daniel, 20 years old, of West Palm Beach, Florida, died April 30, 1991, in Kuwait. Army National Guard Sergeant Tracy Darlene Brogdon, of Bartow, Florida, died May 2, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. Army Reserve Lieutenant Lorraine Kirsten Lawton, of West Lafayette, Indiana, died July 10, 1991, in Saudi Arabia. General Goodwin will read the next names.
The suicide bombing of the USS Cole. 2 servicewomen died when the USS Cole was attacked by a suicide bomber in Yemen on October 12, 2000. Navy seaman Lakina Monique Francis, 19 years old, of Woodleaf, North Carolina. Navy seaman apprentice Lakiba Nicole Palmer, 22 years old, of San Diego, California. The 9/11 terrorist attack at the Pentagon. 7 servicewomen and 40 civilian women died during the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack at the Pentagon. Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class Melissa Rose Barnes, 27 years old, of Redlands, California. Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class Jamie Lynn Fallon, 23 years old, of Woodbridge, Virginia. Army Specialist Chin Sun Pack Wells, 24 years old, of Lawton, Oklahoma. Navy Petty Officer Marcia Dinah Ratchford, 34 years old, of Pritchard, Alabama. Army Sergeant Tamra Thurman, 25 years old, of Bruton, Alabama. Army Lieutenant Colonel Karen J. Wagner, 40 years old, of Houston, Texas. And Army Sergeant Maudlin A. White, 38 years old, of the Virgin Islands.
Jazz Booth, a final salute, will read the next series.
Good morning. I am Jazz Booth, former Army, 13 years, and I'll be reading on Operation Enduring Freedom. 45 service women and 13 civilian women died in Afghanistan while supporting Operation Enduring Freedom, unless otherwise noted. Marine Corps Sergeant Jeanette L. Winters, 26 years old, of Gary, Indiana, died January 9, 2002, in Pakistan. Air Force Staff Sergeant Anissa A. Shiro, 32 years old, of Grafton, West Virginia, died 12 June 2002. Air Force First Lieutenant Tamara Lee Archuleta, 24 years old, of Valdosta, Georgia, and Belen, New Mexico, died March 23, 2003. Army National Guard Specialist Crystal G. Stout, 23 years old, of Travelers Rest, South Carolina, died April 6, 2005. Army Sergeant Major Barbara Banks, 41 years old, of Harvey, Louisiana, died April 6, 2005. Army First Lieutenant Laura M. Walker, 24 years old, of Texas, died August 18, 2005. Air Force Senior Airman Alicia S. Good, 23 years old, of Broadview Heights, Ohio, died February 17, 2006, in the Gulf of Aden. Army Sergeant Wakuna A. Jackson, 21 years old, of Jacksonville, Florida, died August 19, 2006. Army Reserve Sergeant First Class Meredith L. Howard, 52 years old, of Alameda, California, died September 8, 2006. Navy Petty Officer Second Class Laquita Pate James, 33 years old, of Orange Park, Florida, died February 12, 2007, aboard the USS Baton. Army National Guard Specialist Sierra M. Durkin, 30 years old, of Quincy, Massachusetts, died September 28, 2007. Army Specialist Satara L. Brown, 22 years old, of Orlando, Florida, died July 25, 2008. Illinois Army National Guard Sergeant Simone A. Robinson, 21 years old, of Dixmoor, Illinois, died March 1st, 2009. Navy Lieutenant Florence B. Clough, 35 years old, of El Cajon, California, died March 27, 2009. Air Force First Lieutenant Rosanelle Schultz, 25 years old, of St. Louis, Missouri, died May 20th, 2009. Air Force Senior Airman Ashton L.M. Goodman, 21 years old, of Indianapolis, Indiana, died May 26, 2009. Army Sergeant Edvies Wolf, 24 years old, of Hawthorne, California, died October 25th, 2009. Army Private First Class Barbara Vera, 22 years old, of Mesa, Arizona, died September 18th, 2010. Army Private First Class Jazine Petray, 19 years old, of Yigo, Guam, died September 24th, 2010. Army Sergeant Zanae Cremor, 20 years old, of Texarkana, Texas, died January 12, 2011. Navy Petty Officer Dominique Cruz, 26 years old, of Panama City, Florida, died January 28, 2011, in the Gulf of Oman. Army Private First Class Amy Sinkler, 23 years old, of Chaborn, North Carolina, died January 20th, 2011. Army Sergeant Cynthia R. Taylor, 39 years old, of Columbus, Georgia, died April 26, 2011. Army Sergeant Linda Prairie, 28 years old, of Immokalee, Florida, died April 16, 2011. Air Force Master Sergeant Tara R. Jacobs Brown, 23 years old, of Daytona, Florida, died April 27, 2011. I had a distinct honor of meeting Tara's father, Jim, last year. And as we always remember the mothers who lost their sons, we also need to remember the fathers who lost their little girls. Thank you.
My name is Jill Troutner, West Point class of 1993, U.S. Army National Guard, and Minnesota Women Veterans Initiative. Army Specialist Devin A. Snyder, 20 years old, of Cohocton, New York, died June 4th, 2011. Army National Guard First Lieutenant Ashley White, 24 years old, of Alliance, Ohio, died October 22nd, 2011. Army National Guard Private First Class Serena N. Butcher, 19 years old, of Chakota, Oklahoma, died November 2nd, 2011. Army Specialist Michaela A. Bragg, 21 years old, of Longview, Washington, died December 21st, 2011. Army Specialist Erica P. Alexson, 21 years old, of Eatonton, Georgia, died July 8th, 2012. Army Specialist Crystal M. Fitz, 26 years old, of Houston, Texas, died July 17th, 2012. Army Private First Class Patricia L. Horn, 20 years old, of Greenwood, Mississippi, died August 24th, 2012. Army National Guard Staff Sergeant Jessica M. Wing, 42 years old, of Alexandria, Virginia, died August 27th, 2012, in Kuwait. Army Chief Warrant Officer Thalia S. Ramirez, 28 years old, of San Antonio, Texas, died September 5th, 2012. Army National Guard Sergeant Donna R. Johnson, 29 years old, of Rayford, North Carolina, died October 1st, 2012. Marine Corps Sergeant Camilla M. Steedley, 31 years old, San Diego, California, died October 3rd, 2012. Army Specialist Brittany B. Gordon, 24 years old, of St. Petersburg, Florida, died October 13th, 2012. Army Captain Sarah M. Knutson Cullen, 27 years old, of Eldersburg, Maryland, died March 11th, 2013. Air Force Captain Victoria A. Pickney, 27 years old, of Palm Day, California, died May 3rd, 2013, Kyrgyzstan. Army Lieutenant Jamie E. Leonard, 29 years old, of Warwick, New York, died June 8th, 2013. Army Specialist Ember M. Alt, 21 years old of Beach Island, South Carolina, died June 18th, 2013. Army Specialist Hilda Clayton, 22 years old of Augusta, Georgia, died July 2nd, 2013. Army Specialist Karen E. New, 29 years old of Newport News, Virginia, died July 27th, 2013. Army Captain Jennifer M. Moreno, 25 years old of San Diego, California, died October 6th, 2013. The following are from Operation Iraqi Freedom. 107 servicewomen and 13 civilian women died in Iraq while supporting Operation Iraqi Freedom. Army Specialist Lori A. Piestua, 24 years old. Of Tuba City, Arizona, died March 23rd, 2003. Army Sergeant Melissa Valles, 26 years old, of Eagle Pass, Texas, died July 9th, 2003. Army Specialist Alyssa R. Peterson, 27 years old, of Flagstaff, Arizona, died September 15th, 2003. Army Private First Class Ana Laura Esparza Gutierrez, 22 years old, of Houston, Texas, died October 1st, 2003. Navy Seaman Jakia S. Cannon, 20 years old, of Baltimore, Maryland, died October 25th, 2003, aboard the USS Enterprise. Army Private First Class Rachel Kristen Heather Bosfeld, 20 years old, of Waupun, Wisconsin, died October 26th, 2003. Thank you.
I'm Lynn Patrick, U.S. Navy veteran for 5 years, active duty. Army Private First Class Karina S. Lau, 20 years old, Livingston, California, died November 2nd, 2003. Army Specialist Francis M. Vega, 20 years old, of Fort Buchanan, Puerto Rico, died November 2nd, 2003. Army Chief Warrant Officer 5, Sharon T. Startworth, 44 years old, of Alexandria, Virginia, and Warwick, Rhode Island, died November 7, 2003. Army Staff Sergeant Kimberly Volz, 26 years old, of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, died December 14, 2003. Army Captain Kimberly N. Hampton, 27 years old, of Easley, South Carolina, died January 2, 2004. Army Sergeant Keisha M. Hines, 27 years old, of Citrus Heights, California, died January 14, 2004. Army Private First Class Holly J. McGough, 20 years old, of Taylor, Michigan, died January 31, 2004. Army Reserve Private First Class Nicole M. Fry, 20 years old, of Lena, Wisconsin, died February 16, 2004. Army Captain Gussie M. Jones, 41 years old, of Shreveport, Louisiana, died March 7, 2004. Army Specialist Tiana S. Avery Felder, 22 years old, of Bridgeport, Connecticut, died April 7, 2004. Army National Guard Specialist Michelle M. Whitmer, 20 years old, of New Berlin, Wisconsin, died April 9, 2004. Army Specialist Isela Rubelica, 26 years old, of El Paso, Texas, died May 8, 2004. Army Private First Class Leslie D. Jackson, 18 years old, of Richmond, Virginia, died May 20, 2004. Army Private First Class Melissa J. Hobart, 22 years old, of Latson, South Carolina, died June 6, 2004. Army National Guard Sergeant First Class Linda Ann Tagano Grice, 33 years old, of Sutton, Nebraska, died July 11th, 2004. Army Sergeant Tatiana Reed, 24 years old, of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, died July 22nd, 2004. Army National Guard Sergeant Shauna M. Morrison, 26 years old, of Champion, Illinois, died September 5th, 2004. Army National Guard Specialist Jessica L. Covey, 21 years old, of Normal, Illinois, died October 6, 2004. Army Sergeant Pamela G. Osborne, 38 years old, of Hollywood, California, died October 11, 2004. Army Sergeant Carrie A. Gaswitz, 28 years old, of Depew, New York, died December 4th, 2004. Army Reserve Sergeant Tina S. Time, 22 years old, of Tucson, Arizona, died December 13th, 2004. Army National Guard Sergeant Jessica M. Housby, 23 years old, of Rock Island, Illinois, died February 9th, 2005. Army Specialist Katrina L. Bell Johnson, 32 years old, of Orangeburg, South Carolina, died February 16th, 2005.
I'm Trista Mattis Castillo, 16-year veteran of the United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, and the United States Army, and chair of the Women Veterans Initiative in Minnesota. Army Specialist Lizbeth Robles, 31 years old, of Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, died March 1st, 2005. Army Specialist Adriana N. Salem, 21 years old, of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, died March 4th, 2005. Army Specialist Eliana Ramirez Gonzalez, 33 years old, of Hormigueros, Puerto Rico, died April 15th, 2005. Army Private First Class Sam W. Huff, 18 years old, of Tucson, Arizona, died April 18th, 2005. Army National Guard Specialist Carrie L. French, 19 years old, of Caldwell, Idaho, died June 5th, 2005. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Holly A. Sherritt, 21 years old, of Cranston, Rhode Island, died June 23rd, 2005. Marine Corps Corporal Ramona M. Valdez, 20 years old, of Bronx, New York, died June 23rd, 2005. Navy Petty Officer First Class Regina R. Clark, 43 years old, of Centralia, Washington, died June 23rd of 2005. Army National Guard Sergeant First Class Tricia L. Jameson, 34 years old, of Omaha, Nebraska, died July 14th, 2005. Army Private First Class Lavana Lynn Johnson, 19 years old, of Florissant, Missouri, died July 19th, 2005. Army Specialist Tokara R. Green, 23 years old, of Rosedale, Maryland, died August 14th, 2005. Air Force Airman First Class Elizabeth N. Jacobson, 21 years old, of Rivera Beach, Florida, died September 28th, 2005. Army National Guard First Lieutenant Deborah A. Bazinsk, 35 years old, of Bloomington, Illinois, died October 28th, 2005, in Kuwait. Army Specialist Julia V. Atkins, 22 years old, of Berkshire City, Louisiana, died December 10th, 2005. Army Reserve Sergeant Regina C. Riley, 23 years old, of Fresno, California, died December 23rd, 2005. Army Reserve Sergeant Mila L. Marivosa, 24 years old, of Hawaii, died December 24th, 2005. Army National Guard First Lieutenant Jamie L. Campbell, 25 years old, of Ephrata, Washington, died January 7th, 2006. Army Private First Class Tina M. Priest, 20 years old, of Austin, Texas, died March 1st, 2006. Army Private First Class Amy A. Dirksen, 19 years old, of Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, died March 11th, 2006. Army Sergeant Amanda N. Pinson, 21 years old, of St. Louis, Missouri, died March 16, 2006. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Juana Navarro Ayano, 24 years old, of Sierras, California, died April 8, 2006. Navy Petty Officer 2nd Class Jamie S. Janke, 29 years old, of Bay City, Wisconsin, died June 5, 2006. Army Private First Class Hannah L. Gutterman McKinney, of Redlands, California, died September 4th, 2006. Army Second Lieutenant Emily J.T. Perez, 23 years old, of Fort Washington, Maryland, died September 12th, 2006. Army Sergeant Jennifer M. Hartman, 21 years old, of New Ringgold, Pennsylvania, died September 14th, 2006. Army First Lieutenant Ashley L. Henderson Huff, 23 years old, of Belle Meade, New Jersey, died September 19th, 2006. Army National Guard Sergeant Denise A. Loneman, 46 years old, of Bayside, New York, died October 1st, 2006, in Kuwait. Army Sergeant Jeanette T. Dunn, 44 years old, of Bronx, New York, died November 26, 2006. Marine Corps Major Megan M. McClung, 34 years old, of Coopville, Washington, died December 6, 2006.
My name is Monisha Rios. I am a Persian Gulf era disabled American veteran, Army veteran, sorry. This is a hard thing to do. I almost made it on this list, and any one of us could have been on this list at any time in our service. So I thank you for the respect and dignity you're giving us now as we honor our fallen sisters. Army Major Gloria D. Davis, 47 years old, of St. Louis, Missouri, died December 12, 2006. Navy Seaman Sandra S. Grant Fry, 23 years old, of Linwood, North Carolina, died December 31, 2006, aboard the USS Eisenhower. Air Force Senior Airman Elizabeth A. Lonkey, 23 years old, of Newcastle, Delaware, died January 7, 2007. I held her aunt in a park one day when I was raising awareness for military sexual trauma survivors, which I'm an unfortunate member of that club. And she broke down and told me all about her niece's life. And at 23 years old, it was taken from her. And regardless of our political beliefs and our feelings and thoughts about war, we still lose human beings. And we still belong as part of this world and part of our sisterhood. That's right. So thank you. Navy Petty Officer First Class Jennifer A. Valdivia, 27 years old, of Cambridge, Illinois, died January 16, 2007, in Bahrain. Army National Guard Command Sergeant Major Marilyn L. Gabbard, 46 years old, of Polk County, Iowa, died January 20th, 2007. Army National Guard Specialist Carla J. Stewart, 37 years old, of Sun Valley, California, died January 28, 2007. Marine Corps Corporal Jennifer M. Parcell, 20 years old, of Bel Air, Maryland, died February 7th, 2007. Marine Corps Captain Jennifer J. Harris, 28 years old, of Swampscott, Massachusetts, died February 7th, 2007. Army Sergeant Ashley L. Moyer, 21 years old, of Amos, Pennsylvania, died March 3rd, 2007. Army Private First Class Katie M. Sonkson, 19 years old, of Davenport, Iowa, died May 2nd, 2007. Army Specialist Karen N. Clifton, 22 years old, of Lehigh Acres, Florida, died June 21st, 2007. Army Sergeant Trista L. Moretti, 27 years old, of South Plainfield, New Jersey, died June 25th, 2007. Army Specialist Michelle R. Ring, 24 years old, Martin, Tennessee, died July 5th, 2007. Army Captain Maria I. Ortiz, 40 years old, of Bayamon, Puerto Rico, died July 10th, 2007. Army Staff Sergeant Alicia A. Burchett, 29 years old, of Mashpee, Massachusetts, died August 8th, 2007. Army Sergeant Princess C. Samuels, 22 years old, of Mitchellville, Maryland, died August 15th, 2007. Army Specialist Zandra T. Walker, 28 years old, of Greenville, South Carolina, died August 15th, 2007. Army Specialist Kamisha J. Block, 20 years old, of Veeder, Texas, died August 16th, 2007. Army Specialist Marisol Heredia, 19 years old, of El Monte, California, died September 7th, 2007. Army Captain Roselle M. Hoffmaster, 32 years old, of Cleveland, Ohio, died September 20th, 2007. Navy Seaman Apprentice Shayna Ann Schnell, 19 years old, of Tell City, Indiana, died October 1st, 2007, in the United Arab Emirates. Army Reserve Specialist Rachel L. Hugo, 24 years old, of Madison, Wisconsin, died October 5th, 2007. Army Reserve Staff Sergeant Lillian Clemens, 35 years old, of Lawton, Oklahoma, died October 10th, 2007. Navy Seaman Anna Marie Senicolas Camacho, 20 years old, of Panama City, Florida, died October 22nd, 2007, in Bahrain. That hurts because I was stationed with some Bahrainians and they were wonderful. Navy Seaman Genesia Matril Gresham, 19 years old, of Lithonia, Georgia, died October 22nd, 2007, in Bahrain. Army Second Lieutenant Tracy Lynn Alger, 30 years old, New Auburn, Wisconsin, died November 1st, 2007. Army Staff Sergeant Carletta S. Davis, 34 years old, of Anchorage, Alaska, died November 7th, 2007.
Hello, I'm Angie Batika, United States Army Reserve and Army. I'm also a military sexual trauma survivor and disabled veteran. Army Specialist Christine M. Drury, 21 years old, of Dracut, Massachusetts, died November 6, 2007, in Kuwait. Army National Guard Specialist Ashley Satsima, 20 years old, Melrose Park, Illinois, died November 12, 2007 in Kuwait. Army Sergeant Tracy R. Berkman, 41 years old, of Newcastle, Virginia, died January 25, 2008. Army Specialist Keisha M. Morgan, 25 years old, of Washington, D.C., died February 22, 2008. Navy Petty Officer, First Class, Sherry L. Morton, 19 years old, of Bakersfield, California, died April 20th, 2008, in Bahrain. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Casey L. Casanova, 22 years old, of Macomb, Mississippi, died May 2nd, 2008. Army Specialist Mary J. Janishin, 20 years old, of Temecula, California, died May 9th, 2008. Army Corporal Jessica A. Ellis, 24 years old, of Bend, Oregon, died May 11th, 2008. Air Force Technical Sergeant Jackie L. Larson, 37 years old, of Tacoma, Washington, died July 17th, 2008. Army Private First Class Jennifer L. Cole, 34 years old, of American Canyon, California, died August 2nd, 2008. Army Private Janelle F. King, 23 years old, of Merced, California, died August 14, 2008. Army Reserve Staff Sergeant Renee Antoinette DeVille, 44 years old, of Glendale, Maryland, died September 1st, 2008. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Stacy A. Dryden, 22 years old, of North Canton, Ohio, died October 19th, 2008. Army National Guard Private First Class Quislin K. Walter, 19 years old, of Honolulu, Hawaii, died February 19th, 2009 in Kuwait. Army Private First Class Jessica Y. Sarandia, USA, Miami, Florida, 22 years old, died March 3rd, 2009. Army Staff Sergeant Amy C. Tirador, 29 years old, of Albany, New York, died November 4th, 2009. Army Private First Class Adriana Alvarez, 20 years old, of San Benito, Texas, died February 10th, 2010. Army National Guard Chief Warrant Officer Billie Jean Grinder, 25 years old, of Gallatin, Tennessee, died February 21st, 2010. Army Specialist Lakeisha M. Bailey, 23 years old, of Columbus, Georgia, died March 8, 2010. Army Private First Class Aaron L. McLyman, 26 years old, of Federal Way, Washington, died March 13, 2010. Army Specialist Morgan M. Macbeth, 19 years old, of Fredericksburg, Virginia, died July 2nd, 2010. Army Specialist Faith R. Hinckley, 23 years old, of Colorado Springs, Colorado, died August 7th, 2010. Now let's take a moment and pause to remember those that have sacrificed. Our sisters, they had died to protect and defend our Constitution. Now let's live and rally, sisters and brothers, and let's change the Constitution so that it can defend us.